Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. Just loading in for game number 2 up against insert name here against Slithereen Squad. Slithereen Squad took a commanding game 1 with the Timbersaw offlane against a 1v3 tri-lane being completely unpunished. And Sanio, the offlane player for Slithereen Squad, played absolutely out of his mind, was able to completely decimate the Radiant, especially the support heroes of the Crystal Main and the Sand King, who can't do all too much against the Timbersaw once he picks up levels. It'll be interesting to see if they choose to ban out Timbersaw as a respect ban. Just going to log out of Steam right now, chatting with Bambi from Bambi Rising, as well as Flash, carrier player for Team Blink. So it looks like insert name here get first ban and first pick this time. Will be interesting to see if they go for Ancient Apparition as their first ban. Did a lot of work in that last game. The fact that he was able to catch the players on the Radiant side out with his Ice Blast, he was able to catch 2 or 3 before every major engagement, meant that the mechanism that they picked up rather late was completely ineffective. It meant they were easy to burst down. As Slaughter with his sprint, if he's taking that shadow debuff damage as well as the pure damage coming up from the Chakram, the Whirling Death of the Timber Chain. So first and second ban, both respect bans. Ancient Apparition as well as Timbersaw, 2 very strong heroes. Ancient Apparition didn't actually accomplish all too much in the tri-lane, which was interesting. Would have liked to see a bit more aggressive action coming out. Ember Spirit first pick for insert name here. It's a pity that mid player King isn't able to play these series, as he would have loved to see his Ember Spirit play. But once again, Nyx Assassin and Venomancer. The Dire side, Slithereen Squad really don't seem to like playing against those two. The Nyx Assassin I can understand. With that carapace, he is an absolute pain. Especially for some heroes like a Death Prophet, forces her to pick up a BKB. Otherwise, her Crypt Swarm, which hits every member in the fight, is most likely going to clip the Nyx Assassin. If he just pops his carapace at any point, can stun out the Death Prophet and really ruin her initiation and ganking presence. Venomancer, on the other hand, is very strong in the tri-lane with the fact that he's got one of the best snares at level 1, 700 range, AoE Gale. If it catches you, 60% snare for about 6 seconds, I think it is. So if you're caught with it, most likely will be going down. They've gone for the offlane split Dota push with the Nature's Prophet. Very strong hero with that global teleportation. In a tri-lane situation, 1v3, he could rely on the Treants to leash the creep wave back, so he can get some safe EXP that way. Also means that if you ignore him during a fight or during a gank, he could TP in to help out the rest of his teammates, or he could push one of your towers down. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses to go for Shadowblade first, or if he goes for a Necrobook first. Necrobook Nature's Prophet has fallen a bit out of favor, especially with the recent nerfs. So Necrobook minions now give away 200 gold each time you kill them. That's incredibly significant at the early levels of Necrobook, as the last word coming out from the warrior is only 200 pure damage at level 1 compared to 600 at level 3. It means that farming the Necrobook minions can be a viable form of income for your support heroes. Batrider is the second pickup. Excellent hero, provides a lot of isolation power with that Skyhawk combination. You blink in, lasso one of their heroes, and then 4-star yourself out. Gets even better if you have another 4-star on your team, as you can double 4-star, start the fight with the enemy hero caught way out of position, being beaten on by the rest of your team. Has fallen off a lot as a mid lane hero with his base damage nerf, means he's a lot more reliant on the sticky napalm stacks and auto last hit, but usually not an issue. Sticky napalm provides 10 extra damage for each of his hits and spells at level 1. And you usually want to be stacking napalms to make the other mid hero afraid, so most likely we'll be seeing a mid lane Batrider with an off lane Nature's Prophet. We could see a jungle Nature's Prophet, but that's usually for pub games, and it's very easy to punish it. You could either ward his jungle, or you could simply gank him with it, especially in the aggressive tri-lane. The 2 supports, when they're not doing anything, rotate through jungle with the smoke, pick him off, give yourself some extra gold and experience, and shut him down. Earthshaker picked up as the first support hero for insert name here. With his recent buffs, Earthshaker is an incredibly strong hero, especially with the fact that Blink Dagger no longer costs any mana to use, so it is viable for Earthshaker to start with just Naked Boots and rush that Blink Dagger. We've got a Clockwork ban out, so they're banning out another offlane hero, which is surprising. I guess Batrider could also jungle, so if they did go for Nature's Prophet, they could have a Nature's Prophet mid perhaps. But interesting to see that they've gone to ban out the Clockwork. Would have liked to see them pick up the Clockwork. As you saw in the last game, Clockwork is able to create a significant amount of space for his team. I believe it was Viceroy Gunray. He played great Clockwork. It was one of the reasons why they were able to hold out for so long, is he could always isolate fights and start them off on the right foot, especially with that Dream Coil combination. If you time it perfectly, you drop the Dream Coil, and then you run out and use your cogs for the push them out of the Dream Coil. So not only do they get that mana and HP burn from the cogs, they're pushed out of Dream Coil, so the Dream Coil breaks, adds an additional stun, on top of the 1 second CC you get from the cog push, and the modern HP burn. Third ban, Mirana, very standard ban. Strong offlane, mid, support, or as a tri-lane carry. Especially with a hero like the Earthshaker. Earthshaker's Fissure makes it very easy for Mirana to land her arrows, as with that excellent 1300 range coming out from the Fissure. Simple 1-2 combination. He throws out the Fissure, Mirana throws out the arrow. Just as the stun duration is wearing off for the Fissure, they immediately hit in the face of the arrow. She leaps in and drops that Starfall, double Star Storm, and you're going down. Disruptor picked up as the support hero for the tri-lane over on Slithereen Squad. Incredibly strong chasing hero, as that glimpse with the recent range buff to it with 2 points up. I believe the range goes up to about 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 cast range, so you can just pull them back, yank them out, especially with a hero with escape mechanisms such as that Ember Spirit. When he zips him with that Fire Remnant, you glimpse him back, force him to waste another Fire Remnant. If a hero TPs in, you're able to glimpse them back so they waste that TP. Bounty Hunter picked up, so he'll be the offlaner over for insert name here. Bit of an interesting offlane hero, has fallen out a lot in favor, as in a 1v3 situation, he can't actually do anything. All he could do is leech EXP, so the idea with Bounty Hunter is you want to hang around, be invisible as much as possible, make sure the support heroes actually can't see you, as at level 1, Bounty Hunter is extremely vulnerable to a Dust gank, with the fact that Dust now has a 10% movement snare, so all you have to do as a support players is harass him, force him to pop his Shadow Walk, and he instantly pops Shadow Walk, pop Dust, chase him down and kill him. Abbadon and Shadow Shaman picked up. Shadow Shaman, a very greedy support hero, as he needs both levels as well as EXP. You want to get 3 to 4 points up in Ether Shock, as at level 1 and level 2, it only hits a very small number of targets, only hits one target at level 1 for 120 damage. Once you get a few more points up in it, it becomes a much more potent AoE spell, as well as the fact that he's slow and has a lot of mana-hungry spells, so Arcane Boots is a guaranteed pickup on him, just to make sure that he doesn't run himself dry during these fights, if you want to drop your wards aggressively as well. Abbadon picked up the king of defensive support heroes with that Aphotic Shield, completely purges off any and all CC. Could have perhaps been a pickup so that the Radiant side couldn't pick him up to counteract the Batrider. And so for the 4th and 5th bans for the Slithereen Squad, they banned out Tree and Protector, fearing the living armor, as well as a huge amount of teamfight power coming out with the early levels up in the Leech Seed, as well as the Overgrowth. Luna banned out as she's an incredibly powerful, aggressive tri-lane hero that could get the ball rolling with her glaives, as well as the amount of kills she gets, and then start snowballing from there. So it looks like a Naga farming Naga Siren tri-lane with the Disruptor, the Abbadon, and Naga Siren, with the Batrider most likely in the middle lane and Nature's Prophet in the off lane. And we've got the Lifestealer as well as the Anti-Mage. So insert name here, recognizing they've picked up all the support heroes, they're mid and they're off lane, banning out tri-lane carry heroes they don't want to face off against. Anti-Mage, one of the reasons why Anti-Mage could have been banned out in this case is the fact that with Abbadon, Anti-Mage isn't afraid to jump in, immediately start causing damage. Usually with the Anti-Mage, you want to wait until your support heroes initiate, then jump in, as you're very squishy outside of your blink. Interesting to note that with the tri-lane, Naga Siren actually offers a lot and is a farming hero in this case, as Disruptor and Abbadon, they don't really have all too many forms, they don't have any forms locked on their own. Disruptor has a kinetic field, but it's easy to jump on out of, as until the field is set, all you have to do is walk out of it. So with the net, you throw out the ensnare, then you follow up with the kinetic field. Abbadon has no CC of his own. He has the snare coming out from Curse of Avernus, but usually a tri-lane Abbadon chooses to completely forego Curse of Avernus, or only stick with 1 point in it, as it's a pretty good 1-point wonder. The only thing that increases with additional points in Curse of Avernus is the attack speed buff that you get when other heroes attack the target that's been marked. 5th pick coming out will be their tri-lane carry, as it most likely will be an Ember Spirit over in the middle lane. And Death Prophet, so never mind, so it looks like it's a tri-lane Ember Spirit with a mid-lane Death Prophet, and it could actually be Insanio's their off-lane player, and he's picked up that Batrider. It could be a mid-lane Nature's Prophet, or actually it could just be Nature's Prophet in the jungle if they decide to go be really greedy and have Naga Siren in the middle lane. Heart of the Swarm, trash player, was their mid player from the last game. Played a fantastic TA. Naga Siren has been quite a popular mid lane hero just because of the fact that she has such high armor, and with that Riptide it's very easy for her to farm. When she gets that bottle, she can spam out that Riptide, get a lot of CS. Brightside New Zealand from Team Struggle plays an absolutely phenomenal Naga Siren, gets that miracle level Naga Siren micro happening once he picks up his Radiance. So it'll be interesting to see how their lanes develop. Looks like, no, never mind, it is a mid lane. Batrider and Sanyo taking mid up against that Death Prophet. Nerf to Batrider would have given the advantage to him, but with the nerf to his base attack, I believe Death Prophet should have the advantage in the early stages of the game, as Death Prophet's a highly aggressive mid lane hero. You're always throwing out your Crypt Swarm to get CS, to deal a little bit of damage, and you can do both. It's got a huge AoE and fast travel time. Nature's Prophet over in the offlane, very safe pickup. Greg is noob playing him. They're standing for today. Yeah, he's starting out with boots, so this is the Admiral Bulldog build. He's been given a safety ward so he can plant over on the side of the jungle to spot out any ganks and rotations happening. You place the ward over here, or you could choose to place it here if you're playing a bit sneakier. That gives you that vision so that when the supports rotate in, you know exactly where they're coming from. So all you have to do is run back. With the fact that you have boots before the support heroes do, you could outrange their spells. With heroes like Disruptor with that glimpse, that is counteracted. But in this case, they've got the Earthshaker with the Fissure, so that he does have to watch out for that. So we'll have to see some very careful defensive plays coming out from him. Slap and Tickle was the Crystal Maiden in the last game, playing as the Bounty Hunter. Choosing to start with 2 Slippers of Agility, so the instant he picks up his shield, he'll have that poor man's shield. Bit interesting is usually when you're playing the offlane, Bounty Hunter is pretty high base damage. You want to start with that Stout Shield. But nonetheless, he's dropping that first ward. Safety ward as well as providing rune vision, great defensive ward. Would have perhaps preferred to place it over here so you could see rotations coming in from the other side, and that's a less likely spot to D-ward. Over in the middle lane we've got No Name duking out already. And Senya playing very aggressively as that Batrider. He wants to get those few stacks off in the early game, as the instant you hit level 2, if you have more than 5 stacks, that's a free kill. You can dive the tower. You'll burn them down before they can react. The reason why Batrider used to be such a strong mid lane hero. We see he's playing very aggressively to stacks. Death Prophet wisely starting out with that magic wand, so she'll be having an excellent time against him. The thing that you have to keep in mind though is sticking Napalm at level 1 to 70% movement turn rates now. And that's the most dangerous part about the sticking Napalm. The fact that it forces you, if you're running, you can't turn around to fight, you can't juke as effectively. If you're fighting him, by the time you turn around, you're already dead, as it gives him all the time in the world to beat you down. A lot of stacks being dropped with that sticky Napalm. So Death Prophet has to be careful. He's got 5 stacks now. That's that critical factor. The instant he has 5 stacks on, 6 stacks, that's 60 extra damage you're taking per tick of Firefly. Do apologize for that. So 7 stacks now. Interesting to see if he chooses to go for a point up in Flame Break, as you could grab a point up in Flame Break and use it to knock people down. 9 stacks. Death Prophet really isn't giving a fuck. She's throwing out her Crypt Swarm. So the idea to deal with Batrider in lane is you either have the ability to purge off the sticky Napalm stacks or a mobility spell, so it negates the amount of damage coming up for him, or you play so aggressively that the Batrider is afraid to go against you, which is what Death Prophet is doing in this case. It says, with all those sticky Napalm stacks you're giving me, I will always have a few stacks on my magic wand, so I could use that to give myself that burst mine and burst regeneration. Just gonna throw out another Crypt Swarm. Could actually kill him if he gets a right click in, as well as that Crypt Swarm over in the top lane. Ember Spirit, played by Viceroy Gunray, he's off to a pretty good start. Choosing to max out the Fire Guard build, as with Fire Guard, if you have only 1 point in it, it's really ineffective. It only blocks 50 magic damage and lasts for 8 seconds. Every point in it increases the amount of damage it blocks by about 150. Also increases the duration by 4 seconds, so we see him popping those stick charges right now. He's got that magic wand, so Death Prophet off to a great start. This Batrider is only 4 for 0. He's playing scared, and Sanio doesn't want to get too close to him, choosing to max out Napalm over Firefly. With the recent changes to Batrider, in the old days you wanted to max out Sticky Napalm, as that gave you the most form of damage. But now you want to max out Firefly, as it's a more reliable source of damage. It's not dependent on you having multiple stacks. So he's pinging out the mid rotation. There's a regeneration rune. Death Prophet will be very happy to get that. Slap and Tickle hanging around. Interesting to note, the support players from the Radiant side didn't choose to camp out runes. It's one way to shut down Death Prophet, as she's very dependent on runes to be able to sustain her Crypt Swarm. Playing very defensively. This is the issue with having both Disruptor as well as Abbadon. They're both defensive tri-lane heroes. Well, Disruptor can be aggressive, but you need another hero to help out with that. We've got that tri-lane Naga getting a bit of farm. Early point up in Curse of Avernus. Abbadons have seen so far in ODL 1, they don't seem to like getting Miscoil at level 2. I guess in this case, as you're only against that Bounty Hunter, having that point in the Avernus means you can bully him out of lane just by right-clicking him. Over in the top lane, Nature's Prophet, playing very safe, playing very passively, leeching XP. You see right now, he's using that Treant to hold the creep wave right in front of the tower, so that way they're not tanking tower hits. Easier to control the creep wave, so it means that the next time your creeps clash, they'll be closer towards your tower. It means it's very difficult to gank Nature's Prophet. This is the reason why he said, oh, he actually misplayed a bit there, let that tower get that CS. But nonetheless, been playing very well. We see, I don't even smoke, in using that double pull. Pull actually has been warded off by Nature's Prophet, so he didn't go for that safety ward. So he's able to divert the creeps that were being pulled by the Nature's Prophet Treants into the hard camp. Good plays coming up from him. Ember Spirit choosing to max out that Fire Guard. Will be interesting to see if he picks up a point up in that Slate of Fist. That seems to be the traditional build these days. 1 up in Searing Chains, 1 up in Slater Fist to set up that Searing Chain combination. You Slater Fist, and the instant you hit them, you drop Searing Chains, as you can cast all your spells and use items while you're in Slater Fist mode. It's like a Juggernaut's Omni Slash in that sense, as it doesn't interrupt you from using anything else. Disruptor reconnecting back into the game. Cadaver has been having a few computer issues. He has disconnected a few times. We've got what looks like a Sentry Ward placed there, so they do want to play aggressive against this Bounty Hunter. They need to ensure they get kills against him, as Bounty Hunter is one of those heroes that he just needs EXP. Gold is nice on him, but having that max out Shuriken Toss as well as the track is more than enough for him to start creating an impact. And with the Ensnare and the amount of damage that comes out from Naga Siren, as you could dive with the Aphotic Shield against towers, they really should be playing a bit more aggressive, but they're more than happy to play passively, get that farm going. Naga Siren most likely going to go for that Radiance Rush. That's the only acceptable build if you're playing that tri-lane farming Naga Siren. We see Batrider forfeiting mid lane for a bit, going out to clear out creeps. He's getting as much gold as he can, while No Name on that Death Prophet's completely dominating at 23 for 9. Great plays coming out from insert name here, and with level 6 with Exorcism up, he's dropping it. He knows that Batrider's been forced to the lane. He sees the rotation right now. He's picked up Invisibility Rune, so Slap and Tickle has to play a bit more passive. Interesting to note that Death Prophet actually isn't maximizing her damage right now. The way Death Prophet's Exorcism Spirits work is like the carriers in StarCraft do. They have to fly out, attack you, and then they have to fly all the way back. And so if you stand right in front of the tower, like at melee range, as close to them as possible, it decreases the travel time for your spirits. So it means your spirits will actually do more damage per time, and it drastically increases the amount of DPS you have. So this is why Death Prophet's such a strong counterpick against melee carries, is when they go on her, they're eating all the Exorcism Spirits to the face. Rotation coming in, less so, as well as Nature's Prophet that provide a few right clicks, and that Sprout when she escapes. He doesn't actually have mana for Sprout. No Name's Exorcism is down, so she's going to take a fall. First Blood coming out. The amount of right clicks coming out from Nature's Prophet, coupled with the burn with a few stacks on Napalm, more than enough damage to bring her down. Great recognition coming out from Sania with that Invisibility Rune, waiting patiently until Exorcism wore off, until the HP regeneration from Exorcism had been wasted. And mid lane tower's now in deny range, so he's going to deny that once he pushes out the creeps. He's still hanging around. He could use it to potentially bait out another Death Prophet rotation. Netty J Bell hanging around. He's actually choosing to completely forego Mistcoil. I do not agree with this at all. 1 point in Curse of Avernus is more than enough, as the fact that it gives you the movement speed buff for yourself as well as your allies is very handy. The attack speed scales in the late game, but in the beginning you want a few points up in Mistcoil, as not only can you use it to deny yourself, you could use it to secure kills, got a 6-second cooldown, 700 range, provide that extra burst, 100 HP regeneration. Looks like No Name's actually going to get that tower. Batrider really regretting not denying the mid lane tower, gets a sticky Napalm sack in revenge, but that's all he could really do. Death Prophet most likely will be going for the phase boots into the Yule Scepter. That's the most common build and most effective build up on the Death Prophet, as it gives you movement speed, it gives you the Yule's Cyclone buff, which you can use to debuff all the sticky Napalm charges. Very important against the Batrider. Also means that if you're being jumped and if you're being focused, you could Yule Scepter yourself out while your Exorcism is dropping, as your Exorcism Spirits continue to do damage even if you're not there, so long as your hero is physically present and alive. So the fact that you have 2.5 seconds that you can use as a buffer zone for yourself when you're being attacked by the melee Naga Siren or the ranged Nature's Prophet can give you an extra bit of warning. Going for the Arcane Boots, so she's going more for that Death Ball push build. Greg's Noob is going to take a fall here. Called out with the Searing Chains. Very lucky Searing Chains coming up from Viceroy Gunray, as Searing Chains will hit 2 random targets within a 400 AoE. The entire creep wave was there, so lucky he was able to get that, but would have been able to chase him down with the Flame Guard debuff. And that looks like another free tower over in the top lane. The tower gold could prove to be quite significant for insert name here, as this is the lineup they have. They're relying on getting that gold from the towers. Shadow Shaman almost has his Arcane Boots. He's level 4. Choosing to max out Shackle, I really disagree with this, as the issue with scale is not with maxing out Shackle. It's not only does it scale fairly poorly. Cadaver actually going to take a lot of damage right now. Throws out the Thunder Strikes, caught up by his Shackle. Standard No Name doesn't have another Crypt Swarm, was able to just right click him down. The issue with maxing out Shackle is it can be interrupted. In this case, the only 2 spells that have to interrupt it though is the Ensnare coming out from the Naga Siren, as well as the Flame Break coming out from Batrider, unless he chooses to invest a Flaming Lasso. So it is semi-justified in this case, but the burst damage coming out from Ether Shock and the pushing power coming out from that, especially in conjunction with the Death Prophet with a Crypt Swarm, is usually the superior build. Hex is much better to max out after Shackle, just because it doesn't matter if you're disabled yourself or if you die. All you have to do is drop the Shackle, drop the Hex, and it's a brainless fire and forget CC spell. Harder Swarm Trash Player taking a bit more harassment now that the supports have rotated. This is what Bounty Hunter excels at. He excels into 1v1 because with that Janata and with the extra damage coming up from the Shadow Walk, he could go and throw out a few cheeky right clicks on you. Naga Siren actually drops the song, recognizing that the Dire side are rotating towards her. Excellent recognition from her. She might take a fall anyway. Viceroy Gun Wraith throws out the Syrian Chain with the fissure. Didn't quite stagger their disables, but with the DPS coming up from Fireguard, with that final Slitherfist, more than enough to bring her down. Wasted level 1 Naga Siren ult. This is significant as Naga Siren ult at level 1 has 180 second cooldown. It goes down by 60 seconds. So it goes down to 120 at level 2 and only 60 seconds at level 3. But the first Naga Siren ultimate in the game, you usually want to hold on to it, to use it to get your teammates the hell out of dodge when they dive a bit too far. Nature's Prophet, he's been having a great game, especially with that gank attempt. Almost has his Midas, so he will be having it about 11 minutes. Looks like some action's happening in the bottom lane. Cadaver is tracked up. We'll see if he chose to max out Blink. Blink out from Batrider. He actually chose not to go in on I Don't Even Smoke. He would have been interrupted with the Shackle or with the Hex. Shadow Shaman being glimpsed back. He's going to take a fall. That's the power of Disruptor in the trade lane. If a single hero is caught in a position, they go down. Borrowed time, popping by Matty J. Bell. Ran forward, I guess he took a few tower hits. Slap and Tickle, now called out the Flaming Lasso. And Snare thrown out a bit too early. Bit of a misplay. Fireguard thrown out. Great defensive Earthshake. Fissure coming out, splitting the fight, saving Bounty Hunter's life. Looks like they're going to be able to take a free tail 1 tower. Ember Spirit's coming in. Death Prophet doesn't have enough mana for her ult as nowhere to be seen. She's rotating back in from the middle lane. Sanio popping that Firefly to give himself a bit of flying vision. He TP, he blinks out the instant he sees it. Fire Remnant zips in. Didn't have enough mana for Syrian Chains. They didn't turn around on him either, so they both sides run away. I Don't Even Smoke gets a great Fissure, catches out 2. Cadaver takes a fall while he's tracked up. He's that Ether Shock as well as the Shuriken Toss. Harder Swarm Trash Play, he takes a fall again. Great play. That's 2 track kills have gone now. Never mind, they weren't able to track off Naga Siren before they killed her, but the fact they're able to kill their core a second time as well as get a track kill provides a huge amount of gold. Shadow Shaman's just picked up his Arcane Boots. Bounty Hunter has 1,000 gold as well as Phase Boots. Midas picked up at 11 minutes for the Nature's Prophet, so not too bad for him. He wasn't able to accomplish all too much. Exorcism's now off cooldown. That looks like a free tail 1 tower. They also have Mass Serpent Wards. They don't want to drop both, but they can if they absolutely have to. No Name actually tanking a lot of damage. You need to be able to shift aggro away from yourself to creeps, and you also want to stand right next to the tower at melee range to maximize the amount of DPS. These are minor details, but it actually does stack up, especially with a hero like Death Prophet, who relies on you being able to make the most out of your early few exorcisms. They're TPing back. With that track, they spot out Nature's Prophet teleporting, so they know it's just going to be 2 heroes. That's going to be on cooldown for a little bit. Fire Remnant jumps in, throws out the Syrian Chain. He's now tanking, Insanio's tanking a lot of damage, but no follow-up. Aphotic Shield actually dropped on Abbadon, didn't shield his teammate, really wishing he had that miscoil now as he could have used it to help out. Has Phase Boots over Arcane. I'm really questioning the effectiveness of this Abbadon's build. He's playing like a pub star carry, not like a tri-lane support hero. Nothing wrong with playing like a pub star when you're in a pub. Meanwhile, but when you're in a team game, you want to play as efficiently as possible. Naga Siren using her mirror images to split push down that tower. She's immediately backing away, playing very safely now. She's worried that she will die a few more times. She wants to get that relic as soon as possible. Looks like with no rotations coming out, she's going to get a free tail 1 tower just with the level 1 mirror images. Ember Spirit choosing to go for 3 points up in Syrian Chains. This is a pretty standard build as well, as it increases the lockdown from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, doubles the damage at level 1 from 120 to 240 at level 3. Once he maxes that out, he'll choose to get that 4th point up in Fireguard, as it really does make it quite significant. Deals more damage than the Radiance, provides 500 magic damage block. Once you have that up, then you want to max out your Slater Fist. He could, however, choose to just stick with 3 points up in it. He's got that Ring of Health, so he could be going towards the Battle Fury build, as he has a Phase and Drums picked up already. Vanguard's not a terrible pickup on Ember Spirit, but it's just not the most efficient. You want to, if you're going for Vanguard, you want to finish it before the 8-minute mark, and then make the most use out of it by diving towers. So on heroes like Slada, who can play hyper-aggressive in the early stages of the game, it's very good. On heroes like Nightstalker, who dive towers for a living, it's also very good. On Ember Spirit, you want to pick up armor more than HP, as you have pretty bad agility growth, and that's one of the factors that makes you fall off into the later stages of the game. Death Prophet has picked up her Yule Scepter, so going for Arcane Boots into Yule's, I'm not the biggest fan of this build, as Yule Scepter usually provides all the magic regeneration and mana you need So the Arcane Boots is a bit overkill. It does work if you're going for a Death Ball push strat, which is what they're doing. They know that they have to group push, take as many towers as possible. The fact they have 2 Arcane Boots means that Earthshaker, he didn't have to go for his, but he chose to go for one anyway. So there's 3 Arcane Boots, huge amount of split pushing power, group pushing power coming out from them. Also provides all that tasty mana for Ember Spirit, who has a very limited mana pool until he picks up the drums. It's one of his drawbacks as a hero, is you have to be extremely careful with your mana management. But the reason why I'm not a huge fan of Arcane Boots into the Yule Scepter is the movement speed from Phase Boots, comboed with the plus 40 static movement speed buff you get from Yule Scepter, makes Death Prophet incredibly fast. It's like she has a haste rune on at all times, with the unit walking coming up from Phase as well. Makes it very difficult to pin down, as you have movement speed from the Exorcism from the Phase as well as from Yule's. Gives you about 470 to 480 movement speed when you have your Phase popped. Makes you hard to chase down, means you could go in for those dives, get that last Crypt Swarm off with that superior range. And it looks like we've got another disconnect coming out from Abbadon, so just a bit of friendly banter happening between both teams. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check while we're here. So 750 EXP in favor of the Radiant side. That's due to the fact that the Dire side have been grouping up for these Death Ball pushes, and so while it's been happening, the Radiant side have been getting a lot more solo EXP. In terms of gold, 2000 EXP, that's due to the amount of towers they've taken as well as the amount of kills, as each tower is worth about 1000 gold in favor of your team. In terms of last hits, we see that the 2 second highest CS is the Batrider and the Naga Siren. Ember Spirit actually not getting as much CS as the Naga Siren. He has been playing a lot more active now. He doesn't have that flash farming mechanism with that Riptide. And so in terms of net worth, however, we see that the Dire side are by far ahead. Abbadon's just reconnected, just waiting for Pink to reconnect into the game. So for the Radiant side, with the fact that they know they can't fight in a 5v5 situation, they're going to try to go for some split push. They're going to try to go for those pickoffs. With that Blink Dagger picked up on Batrider, he wants to keep farming until he has his 4-staff, because then you have that Skyhook combination coming out. Drastically increases Batrider's farming ganking capability as you blink in, lasso, then 4-staff yourself immediately out, creating 900 units worth of distance between yourself and the enemy team. Otherwise, if you lasso and start to run away, the enemy team has time to lock you down, to nuke you down, or to snare you, to cripple your ability to isolate the fight. Matty J. Bell and Abbadon would really like to see him go for points up in that Miscall. Don't know why he chose to go for 2 points in Curse of Avernus. 1 point's more than enough. 1 point in Miscall is 100 HP. Can mean the difference between keeping one of your heroes alive, forcing them to invest 1 more spell, 1 more right click, which can mean the difference between life and death, especially in these early engagements. Also gives you a way to finish off fleeing heroes, as Miscall has a 6-second cooldown and 700 range. The only drawback to Miscoil is the fact that it does deal half damage to you. But with Borrowed Time, it's not a factor. In fact, once Borrowed Time is active, it's a huge deal for you, as it means that you have another way to reliably heal yourself. And if you happen to be super Gosu Pro, you could even use it to deny yourself once you reach a certain HP threshold. So Ember Spirit has reconnected, just waiting for both sides to resume the game. Just going to take a quick drink of water. Bear with me. Alrighty, so it looks like we're good to go. Ember Spirit safely reconnected. All players are back. So Earthshaker is going to be going towards his Blink Dagger now. Bit surprised he chose to go for Arcane Boots as well, considering that Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman already have them. 2 Arcane Boots is more than enough for your team. 3 is a bit overkill, especially on your mid hero as well, who could have gone for Phase. Especially with the fact that Blink Dagger no longer costs mana. You need Blink Dagger on Earthshaker as soon as possible, as otherwise it's very difficult to land a good Echo Slam. Means that with Blink Dagger it's easier to get those great angled Fissure blocks. Although I Don't Even Smoke has had a few very successful Fissure blocks. He's been using them to split the fight to keep his heroes alive by drawing them away from the enemy team. If Ember Spirit chooses to go for that Battle Fury, he will be transitioning to that farmer role, as they're going to rely on the track gold coming out from the Bounty Hunter to get more items than the Radiant side. The drawback to that though is, since he chose to go for Phase as well as drums, it's severely delayed his Battle Fury. He needs to pick it up as soon as possible and use it to start flash farming. Fissure unfortunately catches out Cadaver on the wrong side, but with that Crypt Swarm, with the Shuriken Toss, and with the threat coming out from the Fire Remnant, more than happy to get that kill. Matty J. Bell is shackled. He had Phonic shielded himself right before he got shackled, so that provides a bit of damage as an HP buffer. Is tracked up. Borrowed Time he has Borrowed Time, so that actually debuffs everything. Slap and Tickle now caught way out of position, overcommits into the tower range, and is going to go down from right clicks from the tower as well as the Firefly. Great play coming out from Matty J. Bell. Don't know why they continue to dive. I guess they want to pop the Borrowed Time. But the instant they popped, he should have turned around and jumped back, respecting the power coming out from Batrider. I think that's actually his 4-star finish. Yeah, that's his 4-star. So that's that Skyhook combination coming out. In the bottom lane, Naga doing what Naga does best. Split pushing with her illusions. She's actually hanging around 2.5k. She's 1.3k off picking up that Radiance. All the Radiant side have to do now is hold off for as long as possible against the Death Ball push from the Dire side. The instant they get that Radiance up on Naga, it becomes so much harder to push into the Radiant side, especially with the threat of the Nature's Prophet. It could always teleport around and do some rat dodo in the zone. The Bounty Hunter as the offlaner could prove to be a bit disadvantageous as he's a greedy offlane hero, as well as the fact that Ember Spirit's going for a greedy build as well. If he chooses to go for that Battle Fury, could just be a casual ring of health. But if he is going for that Battle Fury, it's a greedy build on him. Right now, you want to go for a Desolator. You want to force these fights when you know you have the advantage, when you know that they can't fight 5v5 against you because their tri-lane carry Naga Siren is offering absolutely nothing at this point. All she has is Riptide and Song, only 1 point up in the snare, so it's a 2-second snare, which isn't all too effective. And with the lack of lockdown coming out from the Radiant side outside of the kinetic field, as well as the lasso, they really need to be ganking or pushing, or at least forcing these fights while they have the advantage. Would like to see a mechanism up on either the Shadow Shaman or the Death Prophet. Most likely will be the Shadow Shaman, as Death Prophet wants to transition into a pseudo DPS role. Bit of de-warding happening. We've got the Dire side grouped up, the Radiant side, just Nature's Prophet who isn't around. Naga Siren really doesn't want to fight this right now. She initiates with the song, catches out 3. I Don't Even Smoke isn't slept up though, so he's going to be able to throw the Fisher. Kinetic Field into Static Storm, catches out 2, but Kinetic Field, bit too early. Echo Slam flies out, only catches Magi Bell, but he's got that borrow time, so he's fine. Shackle out in Insanio, but with that Firefly, he actually gets a kill, drops that Firefly, and Snare Thunder a bit too early. Actually, they're going to kill Viceroy Gunray. He doesn't have enough mana to drop out his Fire Remnant. He might pick up that Haste Room. Flame Break pushes him back, so he can't grab it. Hazard Swarm Trash Player, able to contribute a huge amount to that fight by initiating with that song. I Don't Even Smoke, he's plotted out by Nature's Prophet. He's going to get right-clicked down. Hardest one player's going to kill him off with one last Riptide. Gets another kill. That's almost to a Sacred Relic. 3.1k. Don't know how the Radiant side were able to pull that off. The excellent initiation from that song. Dire side should have had a clean win there. Death Prophet was able to drop an Exorcism, but wasn't able to accomplish too much. No Serpent Wards dropped from Shadow Shaman. Maxing out that Shackle really bit him in the ass. If he had maxed out Ether Shock, he would have killed Batrider before he died to that Firefly, and even the Slithereen squad calling that out. They're a bit interested at how they're able to win that fight, especially as Naga Siren had, all she had was boots and the poor man's shield. She wasn't offering anything. Viceroy Gunray really regretting that greedy build. He's going for that Battle Fury. Not going to be terribly effective against Naga Siren with that Radiance. That level 1 Ether Shock, he jumps in, miscalculates his Fire Remnant, throws out the Slater Fist, but without the Searing Chains to lock him in place, there's nothing he can do. Turns around, he's wasted about half his mana pool now, but with the 2 Arcane Boots, and meanwhile, over in the top lane, Nature's Prophet actually goes down to a solo gank from Slap and Tickle. Great plays coming up from him. He's starting with a Mithril Hammer, so I think he might be building that Desolator. Glimpse as well as Static Storm drop in Kinetic Field. Ember Spirit goes down to Abbadon. Was able to get a kill. And that looks like another kill coming out from Hazard Swarm Trash Player as he runs faster than the Earthshaker. Earthshaker drops a Fisher, isn't able to block him off completely. He might be able to make his way on home. He's just going for those jukes of Hazard right now. He actually jukes out the Naga Siren. Great plays coming out from I Don't Even Smoke. He's running around. He should choose to sacrifice himself to the Ancients right now. But never mind, he's actually going to live. Great jukes coming out from him. Bounty Hunter able to get a pick off. And he calls it out. Lol later, bro. Bit of smack talk coming out from both sides. Naga Siren, he's not too happy with that. He wanted that kill so he could get that Sacred Relic, but with no mana, not much he could do. That's that power, that early mech coming out on the Radiant side. They're able to sustain their push. Abbadon choosing to go for it. Still no points up in the Mistcoil. No Magic Stick. I really don't like his build. But what can I say? He's somehow making it work. Dire side aren't punishing that fact. Fire Remnant catches out Nature's Prophet. Searing Chains catches him out. That 400 AoE is working in his favor in this case. Drops that second Fire Remnant. I don't know why he did that. He should have saved that for the off chance that Nature's Prophet dropped a Sprout to block him out of melee attack range. But he should have recognized that Nature's Prophet was dead, as if he was going to Sprout, he would have done so already. Wasted a Remnant, but it's got a 35-second cooldown. The primary drawback to that is every time you use your ult, there's 150 mana waste as an Ember Spirit. Unless you go for Arcane Boots, you want to make sure you only use your ult once in gangster fights, as you never know if you need to throw out another Slater Fist or another Searing Chains. He's about halfway to his Battle Fury right now. Choosing to max out the Searing Chains. Next, the 4th point in Searing Chains is completely optional. Interesting to note that he hasn't gone for the extra points up in Slithereen, considering he's going for Battle Fury, as the only thing that the 4th point does in Searing Chains increases the damage from 240 to 300, so a 60 damage increase, which is fairly marginal. And decreases the cooldown by 2 seconds. It's still a 3-second CC duration. So the 3rd point's the most efficient. Kind of like the Bounty Hunter Shuriken Toss. First 2 points are the most efficient. 3rd point is the least efficient. The 4th point then brings the damage back up. With Ember Spirit, you usually want to stick with 3 points in Searing Chains. Looks like Incendia goes in, actually miscalculates the blink, caught up by the Fisher as well as the track. He's silenced up. He's immediately regretting his decision. Song drops out by Harder Swarm Trash Player. They're going to turn it around. Immediately get a pick off of Viceroy Gunray. He's called out in the Static Storm. Silence, I don't even smoke, running in. He wants to get the Echo Slam off, but he runs to the Static Storm. He drops it, gets 3. Manage Power. Power time dropping. He heals back up to full. Wasn't able to drop his mech because he didn't have any mana. Where is your Curse of Avernus now? He goes down to a Crypt Swarm. Serpent Wards drop defensively, but they get 2 for 1. One of them was a track kill, so they're very happy with that. Gets Nature's Prophet in the background. Don't know what he was doing there. He should have run like the wind. The instant he saw Nature's Prophet hanging around with the spirits with that French accent. You run like hell. Sticks around, takes the fall. Ember Spirit dying before he finishes his Battle Fury, quite significant. Naga Siren dying. She's picked up her Sacred Relic, so she's not too afraid of that, as that's the most important part of the Radiance. But nonetheless, it delays her Radiance. She wanted it up by about 20 minutes. It's usually the time you want to get it if you're being a bit delayed. Viceroy Gunray going to take some creeps. Slack and Tickle. He's got his Desolator up now, so he's providing a huge amount of DPS in these fights. I would have preferred to see Ember Spirit pick it up. No Name running for his life right now with the Yules. He should be able to outrun him. Turns around as actually glimpsed back by turning around. That hesitation from No Name could spell his doom. No Lasso. Lasso just came off cooldown. Called out. 1 stack of Napalm. 2 stacks. With the instant, the Riptide, he goes down. Disruptor gets an influx of much needed gold. He's got that Urna Shadows to provide an extra form of HP regeneration. Slap and Tickle. Backing around. Throws out track as well as a Shuriken Toss. Is glimpsed back. Glimpse was unfortunately a bit off cooldown. Could have glimpsed him back to wherever he TP'd from. Wasn't able to accomplish it. Is caught up with the ensnare though, so he could actually go down. Firefly damage. Thunder Strike. 1 more right click. Never mind. He's able to Fade Walk out with that Shadow Walk. Incendia tanking a lot of damage from that tower now. Is caught up in Shackle range and he's going to take a fall. That's that maxed out Shackle working out for you in that rare case when somebody else is beating them and no one chooses to interrupt. Can prove to be quite effective, but in the bottom lane, Nature's Prophet doing what he does best is about to get punished by the Ember Spirit. Chose not to Remnant in time. Forced to blow 2 Remnants now. That cuts his mana pool in half. He's only got enough for Searing Chains or Slater Fist. He doesn't have enough for both. Catches it out the Searing Chains. Great play from him. Searing Chains only procs if you have Vision. Isn't able to get that. Never mind. He kills him with a dot from the Flame Guard. Bit of a few misplays coming up from Ember Spirit, but he's able to seal the deal in the end. Almost has his Battle Fury now. He's about 800 gold off, so that could be a significant pickup for him. He's got 3 points up in that Slater Fist, so he's been getting a lot of EXP from those solo ganks. Slap and Tickle hanging around the background. He needs a BKB in these fights if he wants to contribute. Goes in for a sneaky kill of him. Cadaver gets the hit with that double damage. He might try to kill for this. No dust, no sentries, no mercy. Bounty Hunter gets a free kill and walks away. Abbadon going for the Vladimir's offering. Good pickup for him, but would like to see him packing dust and packing sentries, especially against a Bounty Hunter, as he just got a free kill there when he shouldn't have. 23 minutes into the game. Naga Siren just picked up a Radiant, so we'll start to see some miracle level split Dota push coming. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. 2,000 EXP lead in favor of the Dire side. Serpent Wards dropped. Shadow Shaman taking a lot of damage from the illusions with the Radiance, was able to burn them down with the Ether Shock. In terms of gold, looks like gold lead's actually completely even now. Mass Serpent Wards farmed up by Abbadon. He says thanks for that. I've got Aphotic Shield. I can tank this. Another thing to note is Abbadon's an excellent counter pick to the Bounty Hunter because Aphotic Shield removes all buffs and debuffs. You could actually purge off the track. So if your hero is about to die and if they're tracked up, you could at least deny them the extra gold they receive from track. Really shuts down Bounty Hunter's snowball effect, as he really relies on getting those early track kills and getting that early track gold to ensure that he can always stay ahead in terms of items. Bounty Hunter right now is in a bit of a commanding lead with that Desolator. Would like to see a BKB picked up on him just so he can run into these fights and deal damage without having to worry about anything. Then after that, maybe something like an Orchid of Malevolence, or even a Sheepstick. Bounty Hunter can build all the utility items for your team. He's caught out of position right now with that Sentry, with that Lasso. Abbadon doing a few right clicks. They get a kill up on them. Sprout out the Shadow Shaman. Nature's Prophet TPs in, and they get 2 kills. Shadow Shaman should have immediately run for his life. The instant he saw the bounty hunter was called out, nothing he could do in that situation to save him up against 2, and especially with the threat of the Nature's Prophet TPing in. The Swarm Trash player just picks up and activates a double damage rune. So he's having an absolute ball of a time. With that Radiance up, with his ultimate up, he's free from ganks. Great Blink Echo Slam! Actually kills out Bounty Hunter, hitting him while he's in borrowed time, however. Gets a great Fisher block off. Silence coming out from Death Prophet, as well as the Crypt Swarm with the Searing Chains. Catches out 3. Great defensive play coming out from the Dire side. They did lose the Bounty Hunter to the Shadow Shaman earlier on. They punish the over-aggression coming out from the Radiant side. They say, get the hell away from our tower. This is ours. You can't have this. Naga Siren going for the Drums of Endurance. Very efficient pickup on her. Gives her all the stats she needs. Makes her illusions a bit tankier. Also gives her movement speed. So once she picks up the Boots of Travels as well as the Yasha building towards that Manta style, she runs at about 480 to 490 movement speed. Very difficult to kill her, especially when you keep in mind the fact that she still has that song. He's got 2 points up on that song now. We'll have that 3rd point soon. Once she picks up that 3rd point song, she's almost impossible to gank. We've got Necrobook 2 instantly picked up by the Nature's Prophet. He's been hanging around with Phase Boots and Necrobook. Battle Fury just picked up at 25 minutes into the game. Very late Battle Fury. Really going to question the effectiveness of the Battle Fury pickup. One of the slight advantages of the Battle Fury on the Ember Spirit, I suppose, is the fact that Slithereen works like the Juggernaut Omni Slash. So when you use it on enemy heroes, the cleave also procs as well. However, the damage coming out from it is only really significant if for whatever reason the enemy players decide to stack up. In that case, it's the most effective DPS item you can pick up. But most likely, as they'll be split up in fights, as why would you want to clump up against knowing that the Ember Spirit has a Battle Fury? Doesn't do all too much damage. Desolator actually provides a lot more DPS for your gold. Also provides that negative armor debuff to every hero you hit. So it saves Bounty Hunter from having to buy his. He could have gone instead for an MKB, increased further the amount of DPS he could do out with those burst hits. But Desolator is not a bad pickup on Bounty Hunter, as Janada is a physical crit, so it can help him get those instant pickoffs. You saw earlier against Cadaver when he had that double damage rune, hit him once, threw a Shuriken toss, didn't even have time to track him before he killed him. Looks like he could do that right now. Every time Disruptor is called out in his own, he goes down instantly to the Bounty Hunter. That's the power of the Bounty Hunter. Abbadon disconnected, but he's just reconnecting right now. Wooden computers on both sides, but what can you do? So in terms of items, Death Prophet's picked up a mech for the team, so she recognizes that they need to fight right now. They need to take advantage of the group push power while they can, but with that Radiance picked up on the Naga Siren, it's going to be more and more difficult, especially with the Nature's Prophet hanging around the background. Drums just picked up on Naga Siren, gives her more of everything she needs. Naga Siren's one of the fastest heroes in the game already. Slap and Tickle looks like he's going to get a solo kill on Cadaver, but he might pay for it with his life. Never mind, he sees the rest of his team. Really would like to see a gem picked up on Naga Siren as it propagates to each of her illusions, so it means that she could use her illusions to clear out wards coming out from the Dire side. Dire side actually don't have any wards on the map right now. The support players are very poor. They need to start getting some control over the map, get some vision. See Naga Siren microing her illusions, only one to each of the camps, as Riptide propagates through her illusions as well, makes Naga Siren incredibly effective. Cadaver's actually hanging around. He might actually get called out right now. There we go. Track, run, 1 right click, 2 right clicks. Actually burned out his Shadow Walk, so he's going to take a fall. He's dusted up. Nature's Prophet TPing, and he actually miscalculates the teleportation, and from that misplay, Slap and Tickle might make out of this alive. Never mind, you've got the Batrider hanging around. The dust just wore off, and wow, looks like Slap and Tickle's going to run his way out. Misplays coming up from the Radiant side, and he's able to capitalize on that. That's the reason why Bounty Hunter is such a pain in the ass in public games. It's the fact that the enemy team aren't able to coordinate enough to bring him down before he reaches critical mass, and once he reaches critical mass, his team is so far ahead it doesn't really matter. With 2 points up in track, he's providing a huge influx of gold to the rest of his team. You see Shadow Shaman almost losing half his HP from one Riptide coming out from Naga Siren, as well as the Radiance Bone. This is one of the reasons why Naga Siren is so dangerous as a farming hero, as her illusions can eventually kill the supports off in the later stages of the game. It forces them to always run back. He can't stand there and just shackle someone to his heart's content, because he always has to fear the right click as well as the Radiance Bone coming out from the illusions. You see that split push right now, sends an illusion to each of his to another lane. With that Radiance being able to burn down the creeps as well as the Riptide, able to help provide a lot more push momentum to the creep wave. Means that even if they do lose a fight, the top lane is being pushed, so passively they're going to lose that tower if they don't respond to it. Level 3 Necrobook picked up. Earthshaker has a Blink Dagger and a Plate Mail, so it looks like he's going to be going from that Shiva's Guard. Would like to see maybe a Veil of Discord on him instead. But Shiva's Guard is a good pickup, or even something like a Force Staff to counteract the Force Staff over on the Radiant side. It's a bit like the Red Queen hypothesis. When the enemy team has a Force Staff and you don't have a Force Staff, they're in the air. Blinks in, catches out Shadow Shaman. He's going to take a fall. They do not want to fight into this. Song of the Siren dropped right as Death Prophet TP's in. We got a tactical pulse coming out as Earthshaker disconnected. Death Prophet's going to take a fall as Shadow Shaman is completely caught out of position. He's going to dive just from that Firefly duration, so he can save that and snare, throw it on Death Prophet. If he's unable to Yules on that, that could be 2 for none. Looks like Disruptor also disconnected. A lot of trash talk coming out from both teams. I don't think they're big fans of each other right now. Getting a little bit frustrated from that last game as well as this game. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. In terms of EXP, 5,000 in favor of the Dire side. That's coming out from the fact that they're splitting up now. They've been getting a few pickoffs. In terms of gold, only 1,000 gold lead. That's a very small gold lead considering the amount of towers and the amount of kills they have. Especially with the fact that it's compounded by track. It's just that the Dire side have been playing afraid. They haven't really been grouping out. We've got an pause, never mind, an immediate pause right afterwards to wait for the Earthshaker to load back in. He's loaded in, so they're just going to wait. Looks like Death Prophet's going for that BKB. Usually a great pickup up on Death Prophet, but against the Naga Siren could actually prove to be her downfall, as while she activates her BKB, when you sing, she's the only one that's available. So since she's the only player going for that BKB, Naga Siren can drop the song in these fights, throw out the ensnare on Death Prophet, beat her down while the rest of her team is asleep and they can't help her. So we've got a reconnection happening. The game's about to happen. Shadow Shaman, they're ignoring him. It gave him time to drop out his Serpent Wards, used to dispel that ensnare. Dire side committing into this fight. They actually get a kill over on Disruptor while that was happening. The fact that they dropped the slow and they weren't able to immediately combo and finish off that Shadow Shaman proved to be to their end. Batrider's going to take a fall. Where's the Crypt Swarm coming out from Death Prophet? She's just going to chase him down with his Spirit, throws out the Crypt Swarm, finishes him off. 4 for 1, more than happy to take that. Bounty Hunter actually dies to the mana burn from the Necrobook image. Great play coming out from Nature's Prophet. Death Prophet actually taking a lot of damage now, but Matty J Bell, he turns around, he eats all that damage to the face with that double damage rune, as well as the regeneration coming out from the Exorcism. Death Prophet's going to get a free kill, one last right click, has the Yules for the movement speed as well as the Crypt Swarm. Naga Siren forced to buy back to try to split push, create space for the rest of her team. That tactical pause turned that fight around, as it gave the Dire side time to react. The Radiant weren't able to lock down Shadow Shaman before he could get his ult off. This ensnare was immediately cancelled by Death Prophet with her Yules. Mistargeting happening from the Radiant side, and they really did pay for it. Ballsy plays coming out from that Death Prophet. Looks like Matty J Bell is disconnected once again. She's picked up her BKB. I guess she's picking up to cancel the Static Storm from the Disruptor. But that's the double-edged sword of the Naga song. It enabled Firefly, it broke Fireflies and made Shadow Shaman completely invulnerable, and that gave him enough time to turn around and throw those Serpent Wards, provide that extra form of DPS. Just waiting for Matty J Bell to reconnect in. So Dire side were able to take a convincing 4-1-2 fight, sorry, as Disruptor has this respawn, and with that fight they get over a 10,000 EXP lead, and in terms of gold, 2,000 lead now. I think they only got 1 track kill from that, but they're more than happy. Interesting to note that Bounty Hunter hasn't been as vigilant with his tracks as I'd like him to be. The reason why you pick up that hero is for the track, not for anything else. He is strong in a 1v1 situation, but unless you're tracking, your kill lead doesn't really mean all too much. Looks like he's going for that BKB now. Starting with that Mithril Dagger Hammer again. I guess he's playing a bit confident. Recognizes that the Radiant side haven't been placing Sentry Wards. They don't have a gem or dust, so they haven't really been catching him out before we can run in. The biggest way to shut down heroes like Bounty Hunter or the Riki is to shut down their initiation, as they're going to hang around and wait until your back is turned, then jump you once you've thrown out your spells. So if you could see him coming, if you could kill him off when he plays a bit greedy and a bit aggressive, you could really turn the fight around, force him to fight 4v5, maybe force the Dire side to react, to commit to the fight to keep their Bounty Hunter alive. They take a free tier 2 tower with the Necrobook images. Great play coming out, slap and tickle. Catches out Batrider, throws out the track, throws out the Shuriken toss. Should have gone in for that right click for the Janada snare, but Batrider is able to get out of that alive. He's got boots of travel, so he's got a huge amount of movement speed. 390. Track does provide a 20% movement speed buff to the rest of your team when you're in 2000 range, so that is something to keep in mind. It's one of the reasons why Bounty Hunter actually fares pretty good against Slardar, is the fact that when Slardar sprints in, if he's tracked, you're providing that movement speed to the rest of your team, makes it more difficult for him to land those crushes. Nature's Prophet split pushing the top lane. This is what the Radiant side need to do right now. They know they can't take fights with the sheer amount of damage coming up. Bounty Hunter actually gets killed on Disruptor again. Disruptor's been having a terrible game, as every time he's on his own or even away from the rest of the pack for even a split second, Bounty Hunter's on his ass. Really regretting the fact that they're not buying sentries or dust. I don't know what they're doing. Disruptor has sentries, but he's not placing them. That's the invisibility tax of dealing with invisibility of an invis hero like a Nerubian Assassin or Bounty Hunter, or even the Ricky Maru, is the fact that your support players constantly have to buy dust and sentries so they don't get picked off. He has been buying them, but he hasn't been dropping them, so he's been taking the fall. Naga Siren most likely will be going for the Boots of Travels with the next 100 gold, as it increases her mobility, makes her images move faster as well, so that's another dangerous facet. Crypt Swarm coming out from Death Prophet immediately to hold off the push. Surprising Necrobook Illusion didn't try to go for that tower, as they could have taken that tower anyway. I guess he didn't want to feed the gold. Thing to keep in mind is Necrobook 3 minions actually provide true vision, so Bounty Hunter has to be very careful. He's actually spotted out right now. He could be taking the fall. He turns around, Nature's Prophet doesn't recognize the rest of the teams around. He does have that track. What did the minions do? They only just started attacking him right now. Bounty Hunter has no mana. Lack of micro coming out for him. Batrider blinks him but doesn't lasso. Lasso's a bit too late on the Death Prophet, but he might go down to the Fire Remnant. Echo Slam coming out from I Don't Even Smoke. Great play. Static Storm dropped on the Death Prophet. She's not able to Yules out there. She takes the fall, drops her spree. Ember Spirit in the back line going in up against the Nature's Prophet, cuts him down. Borrowed time drops. They're able to kill Naga Siren. I Don't Even Smoke running like hell. Eats that miscall to the face. Ember Spirit still hanging around, but he's out of mana, so he's going to back his way on home. Great juice coming out from I Don't Even Smoke. That's the power the Serpent Wards dropped in that fight as they stuck around, ate the Exorcism as well as the Serpent Wards. Never mind, Exorcism wasn't even dropped. It's just off cooldown right now. Death Prophet, she did waste a Cyclone, so she was locked down with that Static Storm. And with that BKB on her, she didn't actually have that in her inventory in that fight. Wouldn't have made too much of a difference, as Naga Siren could have always songed. But wasting that song could have bought the rest of the team time to escape. Viceroy Gunray, the greedy Battle Fury build from him, hasn't really been punished all too much. He's going for BKB now, as he's recognizing the power coming out. We've got mass BKBs coming up from the Radiant side, the Dire side, sorry, as Bounty Hunter as well as Death Prophet. The triple core lineup on the Dire side is going for BKBs. That's one of the ways to counteract Naga Siren, because that means that the only two heroes that are silenced during that is Earthshaker, who has a long enough initiation range that he can hang back, wait for the song to end, which he has been doing, and the Shadow Shaman, which is a bit more significant, because he's unable to provide any lockdown during those fights. He's only got 3 points up in Ether Shock, choosing to max out Hex secondary. He's got a Yule Scepter of his own, so he's recognizing the power of the silences coming out from the Radiant side. If he gets ensnared, he can Yule Scepter himself out, breaking the ensnare. If he gets caught out in the Static Storm, he can Yule Scepter himself to buy himself a bit more time. Static Storm does last for about 4 to 5 seconds, so it means that he'll still be silenced for it, but he won't be silenced as much. There's damage control. It means that if he's focused by any player on, if he's jumped on, he can immediately just jump himself up with the Cyclone. It's one of the reasons why Shadow Shaman's such a strong defensive support hero, is if one of your teammates gets jumped on, you can disrupt him, buy him that 2.5 seconds, as well as the slight confusion with the illusions, although the illusions always spawn one to the left, one to the right, so it's pretty easy to tell, unlike the Manta style, which randomizes your position, but it can buy you that time and space to be able to react. A lot of disconnects this game, but nonetheless, it's been a pretty even game. Even though the Dire side are leading in terms of kills, they're leading in terms of EXP and gold now. No, actually, gold's going in favor of the Radiant just from that split push power. So the fact that the Radiant side are grouping up and going for these pushes means the Dire side are able to get a lot more EXP, also coming from the fact that they're wiping these team fights. But the gold lead could prove to be the thing that clinches the deal, as Naga Siren and getting a lot of farm. She's picked up a Boots of Travels. Blade Mail picked up on Abbadon. Still no magic stick on him. I don't care what hero you're playing, pick up a magic stick. So goddamn handy, especially if you're a hero like Abbadon who needs that clutch amount of mana to provide that one last aphotic shield, that one last miscoil. Disruptor's been playing okay in these fights. Looks like he might be going for a Rod of Atos or Rod of Aoi with that Vitality booster. Naga Siren is disconnected from this game. A lot of disconnects happening. I'm not too sure what's happening with the internet. Maybe the Dota 2 network's being a bit spotty. I don't think I've had all too many lag spikes so far, so I'm pretty happy with that. Blade Mail picked up on the Abbadon. It's not a terrible pickup, but I would like to see something like a 4-staff. There's 2 4-staffs on the team with a Batrider with the Blink Initiation. Can help you out when these fights a lot more. Would like to see maybe Necrobook up on him as well. As Necrobooks, the more you have on the team, the more dangerous they become. Well, even if he just picks up the gem for his team, as with that borrowed time, very unlikely he's going to be going down. In fact, he didn't go for those early points and Mistgore chose to max out Curse of Avernus. Really meant that the Radiant side took a lot more casualties than they should have. The reason why Abbadon's so strong is for the first 20 minutes of your game. If you play your Abbadon well, if you always hang back, if you have mana to throw out your spells, incredibly difficult to get kills against a team with an Abbadon, assuming the Abbadon's on point, with the Aphelic Shield purging off any CC, as well as the Mistgore providing that burst of HP before mech even comes online. Having a form of a heal in the early stages of the game is so significant, as it forces the enemy players, if they dive, to tank a few more hits, or if they go for these trades, they're forced to commit more resources and more heroes to the fight than they're comfortable with, so you could always make it a trade. Or hell, they could even not get the kill in general with you saving their ass. So reconnection happening. So once Ember Spirit picks up that BKB, interesting to see what damage items he chooses to go for. Desolator would be a bit wasted, as they've already got 1 on the Bounty Hunter, but at the same time it's a pretty cost effective DPS pickup on him. Could even see something a bit crazier, like he could just go for a straight crit, choose to even stack Battle Furies. Desolator picked up on Nature's Prophet, fantastic pickup, especially against Ember Spirit, as you see right now, he's got 7 armor. Ember Spirit has very low base armor and even low agility growth, so that's one of the reasons why it doesn't scale so well into the late game, kind of like Kunkka. He relies on being able to constantly hang around and drop that AoE damage with Slater Fist or with the Tidebringer. So that's why building crit on Ember Spirit is such a good pickup, as it means that every time you throw out your Slater Fist, if one of them crits on an enemy hero, they're taking an awful lot of damage, puts you in a commanding lead to be able to initiate these fights. He's been farming fairly well. In terms of net worth, we see Nature's Prophet, as well as Naga Siren leading the way for the Radiant side. Death Prophet, she's going towards a Pipe of Insight, picking up that hood right now. She's been building the utility items for her team, been doing very well. Shadow Shaman, that Yule Scepter, would like to see a Blink Dagger or a 4-staff on him as well, as it gives you that immediately jump-in potential. But the issue with Shadow Shaman, since he's so squishy, like 834 HP right now, Naga Siren illusions will be the burner down. Abbadon can just fully shield himself, run at Shadow Shaman, start beating him, forcing him back. If he gets caught out with a lasso, he will die instantly. Batrider choosing to go for that BKB, almost has it. Invisible Disruptor, but the Dire side actually catch out the Radiant over in their jungle. They're grouping up now. Slap and Tickle leading the way. Naga Siren spots them out with the illusions. Actually catches out Death Prophet. Song is dropped as well as the Static Storm. BKB popped by Death Prophet immediately. She drops her Exorcism. She's turning around and fighting 1v4 right now, taking a lot of damage. Serpent Water dropped aggressively while they're fighting up on the high ground. The Radiant side need to back the hell away right now. They do get a kill on Shadow Shaman. They do get a kill over on Death Prophet. They lose 3. Looks like they're going to lose 4 Major Bells. Borrowed time already dropped. Ultra kill coming up from the Ember Spirit. They didn't lock him down at all during that fight, with the BKBs coming out. Did he even use his BKB during that fight? Yeah, he dropped it. That Naga Siren song actually turned out to be their doom, as they weren't able to get that pick off on Death Prophet. It took them too long to initiate it. They didn't know that she had a BKB picked up, so that Static Storm was completely wasted. Could have used it instead to lock down something like the Earthshaker. Shout out coming out from the Dire side, and they're grouping up with 3 to take the tower. With just a Batrider, Naga Siren's forced to buy back. She's been wasting a lot of gold in these buybacks. Disruptor does respawn in time, so they're going to turn around. They're going to go for Roshan instead. No, the Freshers over on insert name here, they're being a bit indecisive. Naga Siren pushing her way on up with that Riptide, with the illusions coming out from Mirror Image. Should be able to hold. Would like to see a bit more split Dota. There we go. She's sending 1 top, 1 mid, and 1 to the bottom lane. Using that to push out all 3 lanes at the same time means that if they do go for Roshan, they're sacrificing some of their map position. It's also very easy to spot out they're going for Roshan right now, as all 3 lanes are passively pushing with no one farming. The Radiant side have to know something's up. With the negative armor coming out from Desolator, actually Slap and Tickle cops an unlucky first hit bash to the face. They're going to be able to grab a free Roshan Aegis off this. Ember Spirit should most likely pick this up, although Death Prophet's not too bad to pick it up. It's just that if she dies, Exorcism stops, so Aegis the Immortal isn't the greatest pickup on her. It could even go to the Bounty Hunter. Image spots it out, so they know something's happening. Radiant side are hanging around. They know if to interrupt this Roshan attempt, they can potentially turn it around, and net thrown out on Viceroy Gunray. He pops his fire goal. I'm not sure why he's not fires. There we go. He fire remnants out. Echo Slam comes out from underneath the smoke. It was a bait. They get 3. They're gonna get 4. Mary J. Bell, borrowed time has dropped, but it's just ended. And the time he borrowed back just came back with interest. Shadow Shaman goes down the background of Nature's Prophet, but that's a 1 for 4, potentially a 1 for 5. Fire Remnant called out with the Fisher. He's tracked up. He might get a kill on I didn't even smoke. I didn't even smoke, standing his ground with that silence. He gets a double kill, but he goes down. 5 for 2. That's a free Roshan coming in from the Dire side. They could go for Roshan right now. They could go for a push. Looks like they can do both if they're fast enough. No, they're deciding to go for a push instead. They know they could at least try to push down the Tattoo over in the bottom lane. Then when the Radiant side respawn, going for that Roshan. They still have Exorcism up. The Radiant side have their Song and Lasso, which have pretty low cooldowns, showing how ineffective that Abbadon was the later the game goes. That Blade Mail popped, but the Dire side completely ignored him or face tanked him with a BKB. One of the issues with the Blade Mail is on a hero like Abbadon, with borrowed time, they're not going to be focusing you anyway. You don't really want them to focus you. You want to hang around the background, constantly heal your enemy teams. You want to play Abbadon like a ranged hero, relying on the high range from his Mistcoil as well as the 550 range from his Aphotic Shield to hang back. Make sure you're always purging off debuffs. Viceroy Gunray, playing a bit too far forward, drops his Remnant. Static Soul drop, he pops his BKB. He turns around, Bounty Hunter goes down. Actually called out with the lasso. Viceroy Gunray's going to take a fall. Drops the Slater Fist. Never mind, he actually gets a kill over on Naga Siren with one last Slater Fist. Feeds his godlike streak. But split up to the rest of the team. That Mistcall secures it, and bottom lane tower is going to be denied. Naga Siren really hasn't been too effective. She hasn't been given the space to be able to farm. Every time she's been forced into these early engagements, she really needs to avoid fights, keep split pushing. Same thing with the Nature's Prophet. BKB picked up on Batrider, so he doesn't want to be interrupted while he jumps in. Nature's Prophet drops this ward over and to the... He's actually going to get a kill over on Shadow Shaman. Forced to drop his wards, but his wards are going to be farmed up now. He's been dying instantly to Nature's Prophet. He's always been making sure to assassinate that Shadow Shaman. And well played, thrown out by Viceroy Gunnery. So 3 players on the Dire side down. The Radiant side really need to capitalize on this. Nature's Prophet needs to go in for a few pushes. They can even go for a Roshan of their own. Shiva's Guard picked up on Earthshaker. That gives him another form of AoE damage. On Earthshaker, Shiva's Guard is so effective as he's going to be blinking in anyone to the middle of it just to throw out that Echo Slam. 200 AoE damage to every member of the Radiant side. Can prove to be quite significant. Death Prophet called out with the Blink Lasso. And Snare thrown out. She has that Cyclone though. She cyclones herself up. Purges off with the Sticky Napalm. Purges off. Throws out the BKB. Buys herself time. Could be a turnaround coming around. She throws the Exorcism. I don't even smoke hanging around. Slap and Tickle pops his BKB way too early. The BKB duration for the Radiant, the Dire side starting to wear out. That could prove to be their end. Gets a track over on Gregor's Noob. Song thrown out defensively to provide covering fire for the rest of his team. They could look to turn around. Nature's Prophet's actually TP'd out. You don't want to engage on this. You don't have your Nature's Prophet. I don't even smoke running around. He's waiting until he's not silenced. Viceroy Gunray jumps into the BKB. Gets a kill over on Batrider. Death Prophet standing her ground with the Exorcism. Naga Siren goes down once again. Echo Slam just on Mary J. Bell. Borrowed time drops. They wait for it patiently. Then they bring him down. Abbadon really wasn't effective in the first 20 minutes of the game. He didn't go for points in Mistcoil, and now the game's gone late. He actually can't do anything. He's getting an extra 2-3 seconds without borrowed time, but the instant it wears off, if he's the last member alive on his team, he's dying instantly. Dire side, great focus fire coming out from them. They're ignoring Abbadon. They know his Aphotic Shield isn't all too effective now. They know his Mistcoil isn't healing all too much. They can out-DPS his heals. So they're simply waiting until his borrowed time pops, waiting until he's the last man standing, then they're turning around killing him. Great focus fire coming out from them. And it looks like the Radiant have thrown away the early advantage that they had with their superior tri-lane. The fact that Naga Siren got a very good start with that Radiance, but wasn't able to create enough pressure and space for the rest of his team with her split push. They keep forcing these fights against the superior teamfight combination coming out from the Dire side. Means they actually could have thrown the game. In terms of gold, 4,000 gold lead now for the second time in the game. Gold actually is in favor of the Dire side. In terms of EXP, 20,000 EXP lead. This is the critical factor. The fact that they have level 3 ults up for almost every single one of their heroes. Earthshaker's level 17. Shadow Shaman's about to get his level 3 ult. Bounty Hunter has level 3 track. Desolator picked up on Ember Spirit. So his crits are going to do so much damage, especially with the fact that they're cleaving. Went for that greedy build with that Battle Fury, but once again was not punished, just like how the Timbersaw was a very greedy draft in the 1v3 tri-lane situation. He wasn't punished at all, turning out to be the downfall of the Radiant side. Abbadon going for that Pipe of Insight. But the fact that he actually provides very little for his team right now is proving to be a critical factor. Disruptor throws out Static Storm, but with those BKBs, they're able to face tank it. They can pop BKB and fight in it. One of the reasons why Disruptor isn't picked up so much compared to other support heroes is the instant you have a BKB, he offers nothing to the rest of you. He offers absolutely nothing as he's completely countered. None of his abilities work through BKB. Crystal Maiden, you could argue, is exactly the same, but she provides the Arcane Aura at least for her team. She provides more AoE presence with the Crystal Nova, as well as the fact that Freezing Field, if you catch out other heroes that don't have a BKB. Lina, same thing, but she has a much stronger early game burst damage potential. With Disruptor, you need, and Abbadon as your two support heroes, you need to take fights early. You need to clash try. Or at least ensure that your tri-lane support, your carry hero, doesn't go down at all. You want to make sure that you're always carrying a TP as in Abbadon, so when your mid gets dove upon, you can TP in, throw out that miscoil, throw out that shield, make sure that he survives, and rely on that lead. The fact that Abbadon wasn't able to play that kind of Abbadon, he went for the pub star build and maxing out the Curse of Avernus, proving to be his detriment, as Abbadon is not a late game hero, he's an early to mid hero, kind of like Crystal Maiden, kind of like Dirge. You want to make sure you take advantage of your strengths while you can. Bounty Hunter gets a track kill up on an illusion, making sure, just in case, it could have been a real one. Spotted out again, getting burned up. Nature's Prophet and Naga Siren have been doing a great job with using their illusions and minions to be able to constantly scout out. Would like to see a bit more micro coming out from Nature's Prophet, splitting up his trees instead of keeping them grouped together. But that's just nitpicking. In terms of net worth, we see that Death Prophet's been getting obscene amounts of farm. It looks like she's going for that Aya Skadi. Great pickup on her, as the fact that it gives you all the stats you need, as well as the extra snare that goes through BKB, means she's also able to get more right clicks in the spirits to be able to do more damage. Would like to see maybe a Blinken from Shadow Shaman. Didn't actually go for the Hex or the Shackle. Actually shackles a creep. Drops the Ward Traps on the creep. Exorcism's dropped as well. Huge investment from the Dire side. The Radiant side need to back the hell away right now. Wait for the Exorcism to wear off and then try to force the fight. Huge misplays coming out from Shadow Shaman. Not engaging the Abbadon and then choosing to Shackle and Ward Trap an illusion. They're continuing to push, which I do not agree with. I guess they're relying on the fact that they have superior levels and the Aegis to the Immortal. They've got 3 minutes left in the Aegis. Believe it's on. Death Prophet pops a BKB. Immediate song coming out from her. She's tanking the ensnare. With that BKB, she can't cycle herself out. Lot of CC drop just to bring her down. Viceroy Gunray in the background is able to throw out some right clicks. He goes down. Aegis pops. Great recognition coming out from the Radiant side. Choosing to engage when their ultimates are down. Slap and tackle being driven away. Echo Slam dropped just on one. They bring down Naga Siren once again. Where are the rest of the players from the Radiant side? They're simply able to face tank all their damage. Nature's Prophet runs in a bit too fast. Slap and Tickle comes in, stabs him in the face. Ember Spirit throws at the Slithereen. Great blink coming in from I Don't Even Smoke. Are you kidding me? He gets 2 kills. Balls to the wall. Earthshaker plays. Fire Remnant jumps in, catches out the Batrider. Didn't Searing Chains in time, but it's just going to right click him down. Going to wait until... Actually, popped the Searing Chains. Never mind. He recognizes he can't chase this. BKB's been popped. They're going to go for the tier 3. They're going to go for the Rex. Huge misplays coming out from the Radiant side. And insert name here. They're punishing them for it. They're going to take the first of the Rex in the game. 47 minutes in.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
And huge plays coming out from I Don't Even Smoke. That Echo Slam finishing off the Naga Siren, as well as the Blinken, catching them out. 2 people out with the Fisher. Then getting that second kill with that Echo Slam with the Enchant Totem. His Earthshaker has been absolutely on point compared to the subpar plays coming out from the Disruptor, as well as the Abbadon. Looks like they're going for a second tier 3. Very greedy. They should back out. All the ultimates from the Radiant side are up. Exorcism just went off cooldown, however. Viceroy Gunray called out with the Flaming Lasso. But with Fire Remnant, with PKB, he's fine. Naga Siren goes in on her and is called out. She takes a lot of damage. Static Storm is dropped out. Shadow Shaman goes down immediately. Viceroy Gunray goes down. Great bait coming out. Death Prophet says, hey, if I'm going to die, I'm taking the Rex with me. Drops the Yule Staff to provide a bit more damage. There's no way she can get out of this. Many J about tanking it. Choosing not to go on Dead Cadaver. Pops her BKB. Anyway, wasted a BKB charge. But they're able to take 2 lanes of Rex. That's the melee Rex take on the bottom lane. Slap and Tickle says, I don't want a part of this. I'm getting out. He has his Vladimir's. Looks like he's going for a butterfly. Death Prophet been doing a lot of work in these fights. Disruptor's still just been sitting. He's just picked up his Rod of Aoi. Not a huge pickup, as they don't. It's not really chasing power they're lacking right now. It's just damage and lockdown in general. I guess the 60% snare is handy. But the fact that it gets purged off by the Yule Scepter, doesn't go through BKB,
The Dire's top tower is doing its
could
best,
prove to
but
be
it doesn't
an effective pickup. Would have liked to see maybe something like a Force Staff or a Ghost Scepter,
Dire's top tower has
just so
fallen
that he doesn't go down
matter of time.
to the Bounty Hunter. Earthshaker able to get a solo kill up on the top lane. Radiant side throwing, they feed away their 2 cores. They're going for a suicidal kamikaze push. Naga Siren buys back immediately. She's brought back 4 or 5 times this game. Enchant Totem blinking with that Fisher, with the Shivas, is caught up by the lasso, but the Serpent Ward's dropped immediately, taking a lot of damage. Slap and Tickle pops the borrowed time on the Abbadon, and that's about to wear off. The instant it wears off, he's going to eat another Janata. Desolator crit to the face, BKB pop. Janata crit, where's the Hex, where's the Shackle? They completely disregard him. Song dropped on 3. Are they going to turn this around? There's just 2 of them. They shouldn't do this. I don't even smoke taking a lot of damage. And Snare throwing out on the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman cyclones herself up. Purges off. The Ensnare blinks out. Great plays coming out from Shadow Shaman. And they get another kill on the Bounty Hunter. These Song re-engagements haven't been working out. Naga Siren going for the harder Taras now. Needs to stay alive. Hasn't been split pushing all too well. She's been going into these fights and dying in every single one of them. Great focus fight. The fact that her illusions are clumped around her means that Earthshaker is able to get those free procs off with the Echo Slam, proving to be her downfall. Death's Prophet doing a bit of split pushing over in the bottom lane. Batrider buying back again. So many buybacks coming out from the Radiant side. Really throwing away the early gold lead they had. Harder Tarask picked up on Earthshaker. This is one rich Earthshaker. He's been slamming and blinking. Butterfly picked up on the Bounty Hunter. Bit of a weird pickup considering the DPS coming out from the Dire side. The only physical right clicker they have is that he has to be worried about is the Nature's Prophet, as Naga Siren isn't really been going toe to toe with him. She's been done before anything happens. Second, Battle Fury picked up on the Ember Spirit. Now that he has his crit, stacking Battle Furies is a much more cost effective DPS pickup. On the off chance that it happens to cleave and hit 2 heroes, it justifies the pickup. As with that crit, with the fact that they already have a Desolator picked up, and the fact that they're so far ahead, he could do whatever the hell he wants at this point in the game. Roshan respawning in about a minute, so it looks like the Dire side will wait patiently until Roshan respawns, then choose to re-engage. They're playing it safe. They know they've got 2 Rexes in, so the game is in their bag, so long as they don't throw. The fact that the Tier 2 is up, they could choose to go for a fight, and then go for Tier 4s and Endless. They have enough pushing power coming out with the Shadow Shaman Serpent Wards, as well as the Death Prophet Exorcism. Borrowed time popped just to farm Ancients. Firefly being dropped. Looks like Assault Caress has been picked up by Nature's Prophet. That's a great pickup, especially against a hero like the Death Prophet, as it's supposed to do physical damage. So picking up Vladimir's offering, as well as the Assault Caress, gives plus 10 armor to the rest of your team, with the Vladimir's offering already picked up on the Abbadon. Having plus 10 armor to the rest of your team does provide a lot more physical EHP. Can help them survive more hits coming out from the Ember Spirit. Would like to see the Dire side pick up an Assault Caress. And looks like the Shadow Shaman with that plate mail looks like he might be going for it. No Abbadon Scepter on him.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
With that Blink Dagger and with that Yule Scepter, he's being very slippery and hard to kill. As one of the drawbacks of Naga Siren is her lockdown can easily be purged off, as it's just an immobilized.
So radiant anymore, it turns out.
They're gripping up for a push. They don't even need Roshan. With all their ultimates up on both sides, with the double Battle Fury, BKB popped immediately on Ember Spirit. He wants to jump in and go for a fight. BKB immediately ends. BKB popped on Death Prophet, but it's down to 4 seconds now. She's taking a lot of damage. It wears off, but the song already has ended. She runs back into the Static Storm. I don't know why. Viceroy Gunray, corner position. Echo Slam coming out. Catches 3. Catches out all the images as well as the minions from the Necro book. Shackle finishes off Nature's Prophet. Maddie J. Bell gets a kill over on the Death Prophet, but he's hanging around 1v5. 1v4. Death Prophet has brought back. He goes down to an Enchant Totem smack from Earthshaker. Death Prophet with the Boots of Travel is able to get the top lane of Rex, and that looks like mega creeps. So there's just the range Rex left. Batrider on his own, can't do shit to defend this. They call GG. That's actually an aggressive GG called. Bad manners coming out from the Dire side. They're a bit frustrated with the Radiant. No GG called from the Radiant side. GG has to be called out by the team that loses. And they're going for Megas.
Excuse me.
Looks like game 53 minutes in, 30 to 57. Insert name here, playing a good game in Dota. Going for a few greedy items and greedy builds,
Radiant should really
but
do
wasn't punished by aggression from the Radiant side. Radiant side really not playing to the effectiveness of their draft. They didn't go for the split push. They went for early fights. Once the two support heroes had started to taper off, Disruptor and Abbadon really rely on getting an early lead. They can't really play too well from behind. Showing off the effectiveness of Yule's Scepter as well as BKB as it counters to Naga Siren. And with Mega Creeps and with the tower, it actually looks like they're going for a bit of fountain farming. Batrider is able to drag Shadow Shaman back with this lasso. Batrider trying to draw back the creeps. He's tracked up now, so he's able to provide that movement speed. And Viceroy Gunray, he just whacks the Ancients down. Game 2 goes in favor of insert name here, so this series is a draw. 54 minutes in, 31 to 57. Well played by both teams. Believe we do have a series happening at 4 or 4:30 with Bambi Rising playing against, I think it's Team Psycho, so stay tuned for more Dodo today. Otherwise, at 8:30, I believe there's another game series happening in, I think it's Group 1. Team Standard Strike is playing, so I'm 49. Thank you for listening and watching, and I should be back later on today.